What smell will you never forget? 1. The smell of my dead roommate. It was like intense broccoli farts that only got worse. By day 3 it was too intense to ignore. My friend joked, what if he's dead? And when I went to check, he very much was. 1. Yes, it took me 3 days to notice he was dead. I'm used to not seeing people I've lived with for up to a month. What concerned me was the fact that I wasn't hearing him, and that prompted the conversation with my friend that eventually ended up in me checking on him. 2. I'm not the only one in the house who didn't know he'd passed. I had another roommate at the time that also didn't notice anything out of the ordinary at first. 3. He'd literally just moved in and told myself and my roommate that we wouldn't see him much. We didn't expect him to die the next day. We just assumed he was doing his own thing like he said he would. It was just a strange string of events. 2. My mom had what we used to call a train case when she traveled. After she died, I took custody of it. She died in 1991. The case sits on a shelf in my closet. When I open it, it still smells just like my mom, a combination of the cologne she wore and the powder she used. It's the most comforting fragrance on earth to me. I love a lot of beautiful smells: pine trees in the mountains, fresh rain, clover, a just bathed baby. But nothing soothes my heart like opening that old train case that still smells like my mom. 3. My daughter and I were getting home from school and work one day. It was a crisp fall day and we were chatting happily as I put the key in the lock and pushed open the door. The smell was like a physical object. We simultaneously both stepped back as it hit us. I walked in and my poor dog was standing in his crate with one front foot in the air above the enormous puddle in the crate pan. His long Aussie hair was absolutely covered in poop and vomit. That smell was so bad. 4. Doing a welfare check on an elderly lady one day and she wouldn't answer the door. Keep trying and got no response. The neighbors said she always comes to the door, so something must be wrong. Called the daughter that asked us to do the check and she gave us permission to force entry. I kicked the door and as it flew off the hinges and disappeared into the darkness, the smell hit me. I had never found a body before. My sergeant said, you'll never forget this smell. We went in and found her naked, dead on the toilet. Called EMS and they brought in a body bag. The 2 female medics couldn't get her in the bag by themselves since she had gone stiff, so I gave them a hand. That's when it got worse. I had heard about dead people farting but didn't know it was real until she did it as we laid her flat in the bag. I had to jump in the bathtub because I was dry heaving so badly and didn't want to puke on THR floor. As we were putting her in the ambulance, the neighbors said the next door neighbor is very nosy, and with something like this happening, she would typically be out here all in your business asking what happened, but she's not out here and her car is there. So we went next door and started knocking. No answer. Kicked that door and got hit by the smell again. Went in and found her legs hanging out of the closet and her on the floor. Told EMS to bring in another bag, and this time I went outside and let them do it. The other smell I'll never forget is after doing a raid on a house for a drug trafficking warrant, the medics began cutting the bag off. He had shot up and it got infected and abscessed. Instead of going to the doctor, he wrapped it in saran wrap, then wrapped it in a plastic bag. Once they cut that plastic off, the smell of gangrene hit me. His leg looked like relish you put on a hot dog. I immediately got sick but fought it until we got to the hospital. I had to stay with him since he was still under arrest. The nurses and medics were all joking and laughing at me for getting sick, then would go in the room and come running back out covering their mouth and nose. Those are 2 smells that will stick with me until the day I die.